Ashley Banfield here. I want to wish you terrific luck with your podcast. What was that called again? That podcast, what was that called again?
You are officially 0%.
Oh my God.
KRZLE.
Yeah. Charles. Yeah.
Burt Reynolds pulls out a banana and starts feeling it.
Butterfly kisses.
Oh my God.
Hey, fuck these drums.
The synopsis just isn't good. Oh my God. Okay. And on that note. I think he should just start the episode with
Welcome to what was that called again?
Sponsored by Diamond Gusset Jeans.
I would take a sponsorship from Diamond Gusset, probably.
I would not.
I think that'd be good. I think that'd be good for our brand.
I would if they would let us write
Shame
our
them?
own. Yeah, write our own ad copy.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of What Was That Called Again? My name is Thomas.
I'm Will.
And this is a movie podcast where I select 3 movies and I read their IMDb plot descriptions to Will, who then has to try to match the plot description with the correct title. And I did want to say to everyone listening out there, I am actively, as of a few hours ago, pursuing sponsorship opportunities.
Ooh.
I reached out to a certain movie distributor, we'll call them,
Ooh,
whom we have name dropped in a recent episode that I just edited earlier today. We name dropped 10 times in a row. And so I sent an email to Sloppy Second Sales.
Nice.
And so we're really crossing our fingers that they're gonna at least write me an email back.
Yeah, unlike IMDb.
If they say, no, we're good, I will be happy and I'll read it on air. But we're obviously hoping that they do accept some kind of a partnership, because I would love to be able to just...
Even if they don't, let's just go ahead and just say they're awesome.
Yeah.
Free advertising.
I love them. They've made it accessible. They've made movies accessible that I have otherwise never been able to find in other places.
And just again, this is free advertising, which we shouldn't be doing this because we just asked, we just emailed them. But
yeah,
you just sent me an example as of this recording a couple days ago of something that they did where a film title literally was made unavailable online, like on Amazon or whatever. And then you found that exact same title at sloppyseconds.com.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. And I recently, just a couple nights ago, watched Return of Godzilla, aka Godzilla 1985, on Blu-ray, courtesy of Sloppy Second Sales, which otherwise has been out of print here in the US for a few years now. It's been hard to find. So that was fantastic to get it, and in amazing picture quality, because they clearly ripped it from a really good Blu-ray source. So
Nice.
it looked fantastic. The subtitles were great. Worked out fantastic. So none of the movies I'm going to be talking about this week are titles that they carry. These are titles that are accessible in other forms. However, I do want to say that 2 of the 3 synopses that I'm going to be reading you this week, Will, are written by IMDb users.
Oh, yeah. Fresh meat.
One of which I recall having a typo, but other than that, they were not too terrible. Okay. Not as bad as they usually are when it comes to user-written.
B-Sus is our favorite.
Yeah, B-Sus is still... I don't know, man. Whoever the anonymous source was that wrote the one for the one that had the guy saved 2.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then he that one might have been my favorite, but that one didn't list who wrote that. But anyway, before we dive in to this week's movies, I also wanted to touch really, really quickly. A couple weeks ago, I think it was, we did an episode, and One of the movies that we discussed in that episode was a film called The Night of the Bastard.
Night of the Bastard.
Yes, and out of the 3 movies that we did in that episode, that was the only one that I personally had not yet seen. And so I wanted to amend that, and so I went ahead and I watched it. So that one was available on Plex and Tubi. So I immediately went to Plex, who is another wishful sponsor whom we have not reached out to, but we just hope that they one day find us.
Kismet.
So actually what I did was I searched on my Fire Stick Night of the Bastard, found the movie. It says, like click here to watch on Plex, click here to watch on Tubi. I was like, I'm going to support the Plex guys.
Plex.
So I clicked Plex. It opened up Plex. It didn't open it up to the page of the movie. It just opened the app Plex. And so I was like, all right. And so I went to the search. I typed in Night of the Bastard, found it, clicked it. It says, not available to watch. So I'm like, what?
So
and then I pulled out my phone and I searched.
They couldn't let you watch it.
I searched Night of the Bastard on Letterboxd, which is what I primarily use because they have a feature on Letterboxd that tells you where it streams. And it says Plex and Tubi.
All right.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I closed out the app and I opened it back up and I went back to it. Not available. And so I was like, I guess I just have to watch it on Tubi, the older cousin of Plex.
With ads, right?
Yes, with ads, which Plex had ads as well.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same.
Plex had just removed it from their catalog, like right
hours before.
Like right as you were searching, someone in like the control room at Plex was like, "Well, the numbers are down on this one. We'll go ahead and take this one off the category."
Yeah. Nobody's going to try to look for this one.
No one's watched this in 900 days. Okay, we'll go ahead and take this one off.
We're pretty sure the only people who've watched this are the people that worked on it. That's very possible. I don't know, but
So tell us about Night of the Bastard.
Yeah. So the movie itself was not too terrible. So I'm sure you don't recall at this point.
Is this the 2002? 2022.
Yes, and so there was.
I'm going to try to remember what this is. So it's 2022, and
this is a new game.
Yeah,
we'll remember the movie Thomas watched, which he talked about last week
in a previous episode. Previously on, what was that called again? This is the 2022 film where like there is somebody who is it's a female, I think, and she's I kept relating this one to Evil Dead.
Yes.
And there's like some abandoned or like desolate or whatever building or cabin that someone owns, and then this woman goes there to seek safety from a sorceress, I think. Yeah. And also from a cult that is about to do crazy things or something along those lines.
Yes, that's actually very good, Will.
Nice,
a round of applause.
I'm getting better.
Yay. So, yeah, that's actually pretty much spot on. And I mean, that's pretty much what the movie is. So it opens in 1978.
Ooh, okay. Period film.
And we have a young couple, 20-something couple, in a truck driving to a party. The wife is pregnant. I don't know why she was going to a party. I assume she wasn't going to be drinking. I don't know. But they get there, and there is this like weird woman that's outside, and they're like, "Hey, is like Mark here or whatever the guy's name is?" And she's like, "He might be inside or some shit." And they go in there, and he's like, "Hey, Mark." Nothing. Woman like comes in and like closes the door behind them, and then basically they get like jumped, get knocked out. They wake up. He's like tied up. She's like tied to a tree or some shit like that, and they like cut her stomach open and like rip her baby out.
Oh God.
And they killed the boyfriend or husband, whatever the guy is. They kill him.
Brother.
And then it cuts back to present day. And we have this dude laying, or it says 40 years later, this dude is like laying on the ground in the middle of the desert. He gets up, he like lives in this little shack. And then like these kids are like camping on his property, and he goes out there with his gun, and he's like, "Yeah, you get off my property."
Right.
What are you doing out here? He doesn't quite talk like that, but
If only you knew
that's
what
the
happened
idea.
exactly 40 years ago to a couple that was out here about your age.
Right. All right, man. All right. All right. And so they leave, and then they find what turns out to be this like cult with this sorceress. The sorceress chick is wearing this like she's wearing this like sexy, like very revealing outfit, of course.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, fuck, let's hang out with these people. And so they like just walk up there and they're like, hey, what's up? You guys got any drinks? And basically they kill the two dudes that are part of this like kids camping party. And there's three of them, two dudes and a chick. And the woman gets away and she runs back to that dude's little hut. And then so that is where it commences, like what seems like probably 2/3 of the movie is mostly a siege movie where they're inside of his like little shitty house in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And these cult members are like, they're just sieging. They're like attacking the house and they're like trying to get in. They're trying to get her. This fight eventually makes its way outside. But yeah, I mean, overall, I actually enjoyed it more than I suspected I would going into it, in all seriousness, which sounds harsh. If anybody who worked on the movie is listening.
The whole film crew is, actually.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're all
They're having a listen
all
party.
ears. No, the movie didn't bore me at all. A couple of the performances I thought were actually like not like, I don't want to say not bad. I thought they were good. There were some good performances in it, actually. And overall, the most negative thing that I have to say was that it wasn't unique enough to stand out in a way that would make it really memorable long term.
Right.
I think like I text Will after I watched it and was kind of just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to remember this one in like next week.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as a one-time watch situation, I thought it was pretty good.
Night of the Bastard.
Yep. Night of the Bastard.
Look for it on Plex and then be denied.
Yep. And then be like, well, I guess I got to get Tubi.
Look for it on Plex and then have it send you to Tubi.
So
Awesome.
moving on.
Night of the Bastard. Yeah. Night of the Bastard. Check it out, Tubi. Or even just
do check it
how
out.
about this? Anyone listening out there, go to Plex and search it, knowing that you're not going to find it there. But just so that way Plex sees like a bunch, and by that I mean like 3, like random, just like, why is everyone searching for this movie? And then maybe they'll put it back on there.
Yeah, you'll search for it. You will find it on there, but it'll say that you can't watch it. That's what it does. Because you click on it on Plex. Plex actually will tell you like where a movie is available. And it literally says like not available anywhere. Nice. I'm like, all right, well, for one thing, you're supposed to have it. And for another thing, it's literally on Tubi. So what the fuck?
Yeah. Not only are you lying, but you're wrong as well.
Yeah. So but yeah, anybody listening, do check it out. It's worth watching at least once if you're a fan of micro budget modern horror films, and if you're offended by nudity and like
definitely watch it if you're offended by nudity. Definitely.
Like and you like sexual content involving blood relatives, do give it a go. But all right, so
I'm ready for the 3 titles of this week's episode, which may or may not be featured on Plex, and then tell you that it's unavailable.
Yes. So I can say right off the bat that we do have a title that's on Plex. I have seen one of the 3 movies that we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
Of the 2 movies that I have not seen, I have been aware of one of them for a long time, and I do really want to watch. The other one I only discovered in researching for this, and then
interesting.
And in researching it, it is a very high priority for me to watch.
Oh wow! So
I thought it sounds like right up my alley.
One of these you've seen, one of these you've wanted to see for a while, and now one of these you need to see immediately.
Yes, and in fact, I almost went to watch. I almost pulled up this movie to watch earlier, but then I decided to edit our show instead.
You
Like
decided
I had-
to be productive.
yeah.
I mean, I can't blame you for that.
So, okay, we can kick it off
Yes.
right away. Your first movie comes from the year 1974.
Again, this is like the third week in a row, I think.
You know, whenever I was typing this episode up, whenever I was typing these movies and their summaries up, I thought that I was like 1974 might be like the most popular year of movies on this podcast.
Maybe. We're going to do them all.
Somebody out there compose a spreadsheet of every movie that we've done.
Yeah.
Because I am curious. I do think
We could do that,
1974.
but we're not going to.
Yeah, it's too much work.
Yeah, no.
1974 really might be the most used year of the show.
Remember that date the most. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is, but it definitely, I've heard you say those numbers in that order the most times.
1974?
Yeah. I had to really break you of like saying that about dates. I just like, no, dude, it's just 1974, not like 1974.
Oh, shit.
1974 AD.
Yeah, so this synopsis is written by IMDb user Jonathan Dabble.
Okay, Mr. Dabble.
Who you can contact at, I'm going to dox everyone who has their email on their IMDb plot description. So his, I assume email, I guess, is j.d.at.pixie.ntu.ac.uk.
Okay.
So if anyone out there listening wants to email that guy, there you go. Don't tell him we sent you, but do ask him how he got his synopsis posted on IMDb.
Again, we could do that, but we're not.
Yeah, too many buttons. But the synopsis that he left for this film reads as follows. 3 vicious thugs are on the run in rural America after robbing a local bank. They seek refuge at the home of a reclusive farmer, but he is prepared for their arrival and holds them at gunpoint. Unable to let them simply wait for the law, he decides to take them into his cellar and torture them a little before the police come.
Just a little, though. Just a little torture.
Yeah,
okay.
Just like pokes them with.
I know this is a thing with me, but that feels familiar.
Okay.
It doesn't feel. If that is familiar to me, I either didn't realize it was 1974 or I am just thinking of something completely different. Okay, so 1974.
Yeah.
3 thugs are on the run in rural America after robbing a bank. Whenever they come across a farm.
Yeah.
And an old man takes them in. What was that part? An old man?
So they seek refuge at the home of a reclusive farmer, but he is prepared for their arrival and holds them at gunpoint.
Right, and then he does a little bit of torture before the cops arrive.
Yep. Unable to simply let them wait for the law, he decides to take them into his cellar and torture them a little before the police arrive.
Just a little torture, boys. Let's go down.
He's also like, they're on their way, boys. But in the meantime,
time for a little torture. Okay, that feels familiar. That really does. Okay, 74. Okay, next.
All right, your second title or second film is going to come from 1979.
Okay.
And your synopsis reads as follows. A nice young couple move into an eerie house which is located in a small Louisiana town, unaware of its violent history, and soon find themselves tormented by the previous owners.
Ooh. What was the year again?
1979.
79. And say the synopsis one more time.
Yeah.
A young couple.
A nice young couple.
Okay.
Move into an eerie house which is located in a small Louisiana town, unaware of its violent history, and soon find themselves tormented by the previous owners.
Okay, 1979. A nice young couple move into a house.
An eerie house.
An eerie house in southern Louisiana. Or just
Louisiana town. Yeah.
Okay, just Louisiana. And find themselves tormented by the previous owners.
Yep.
Okay. Doesn't say if those owners are alive or not. Okay. That's interesting. That does not feel familiar or sound familiar. Okay. Next.
All right. Your final one is from the year 1971.
Okay.
And this synopsis is written by Kevin Steinhauer.
Hello, Mr. Steinhauer.
And you can reach him at k.steinhauer@bom.gov.
BOM.gov?
Yeah, capital B, lowercase o, capital M, .gov. But then it said ... and I couldn't, so I don't know if there's more to it, but it said .gov, and then that's where it ended.
Bureau of...
Money?
No. BOM. Is that Bureau? It's not... I can't remember what it is. It's not land. No. Clearly not. What was that government office called again? Okay, go ahead and read the synopsis.
Okay. Kevin wrote for us this synopsis, and
1971.
And it reads as follows. Young babysitter Amanda arrives at the Lloyd residence to spend the evening looking after their young son. Soon after the Lloyds leave, a series of frightening occurrences in the gloomy old house have Amanda's nerves on edge. The real terror begins, however, when the child's biological father appears after recently escaping from a nearby mental institution.
Jesus Christ, Kevin. Okay. All right. Please read that one more time.
Okay. It's like there would be... You could like easily break this all down into like a much simpler synopsis.
Exactly.
It's just... I'm this isn't complicated.
Typo.
It's just so wordy. You know,
so it must be the first.
I could have been mistaken because the next episode also has a user submitted one, and I think that one was the one that had the typo. So that's my mistake.
Oh, spoilers for the future episode.
Oh, whoops! Look forward to a typo next week.
Typo callouts.
What was that called again? All right.
Okay.
All right.
So 1971.
Young babysitter Amanda arrives at the Lloyd residence to spend the evening looking after their young son. Soon after the Lloyds leave, a series of frightening occurrences in the gloomy old house have Amanda's nerves on edge. The real terror begins, however, when the child's biological father appears after recently escaping from a nearby mental institution.
Okay. So 1971, a babysitter is frightened after the parents of a young child leave, and that young child's biological father shows up after having recently escaped a mental institution.
Yeah, but you forgot the part where it's a gloomy old house and Amanda's nerves are on edge.
And all their names and everything else.
You need to have that, yeah.
But that was basically it, right?
Yes.
Babysitter terrified, babysitting a kid whose biological father shows up after escaping a mental institution. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1971. Let me try to recap the first one now, because whenever there's long ones like that, especially at the end of the three, my memory file can only hold so many like bits of data.
Yeah.
And it starts to overwrite. So let me try to go back. 1974.
Yes.
This is the one that is... Hold on. I got this. It's in here somewhere. This is not the 1979 film where three thugs are in Louisiana, because that's the second film you said. So I'll skip the first one.
Hang on. You're no. So the three you're like combining two different ones. The 1979 one is the second one that I told you. That's correct.
Yeah,
It is in Louisiana, but the three thugs are in this first synopsis.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then how many were in the second one? Was it just the thugs?
A nice young couple.
Oh, a couple. Okay.
Was it just the thugs?
Damn. Okay.
No,
so then the 1974 one,
the first one.
The 1974 one is the three thugs who, after robbing a bank, are on the run in rural America, and they come across a desolate farmhouse where the owner is awaiting them, basically awaiting their arrival, prepared for them to show up. And instead of simply waiting for law enforcement to arrive, he takes these thugs to his basement for a little bit of torture.
Yes.
Okay. So then the 1979 film is a young couple, a nice young couple in Louisiana, recently purchased a house in Louisiana and are being tormented by the previous owners.
Correct.
Okay. And then the last one again was the babysitter babysitting a kid, and the kid's biological father shows up after having recently escaped a mental institution. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I think I think I'm as ready as I can be for the titles.
Okay. The first title you're going to get is going to be
Kevin and Amanda.
Three Thugs in Louisiana. Your first title is going to be Sunday in the Country.
Sunday in the Country. That sounds nice and peaceful.
It is Sunday in the country, a time for peace.
Yeah.
Sunday. So is that three thugs running through the rural American countryside on a Sunday after robbing a bank, or is that just the description of where this home is at and the time it takes place in Louisiana? Basically, I'm saying that this is not. I don't think this is the babysitter and the biological father thing.
Interesting.
So this is what was it again? A nice Sunday, a pleasant Sunday.
Sunday in the country.
Sunday in the Country.
I'm not even close. Sunday in the Country. Okay,
A nice Sunday.
a nice Sunday. That's next week's episode. Okay, Sunday in the Country. Okay, that sounds nice. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Sunday in the Country. Okay.
Your second title that you have is going to be The Evictors.
Ooh, so that feels pretty spot on the nose to the previous owners of a house that was recently purchased, that they are evicting the new tenants of that house. Maybe. I could be completely off on that, but that kind of feels like that's what that is. Unless there's some other meaning to evictors that I don't know, which is also possible. Okay, third title.
Your final title is going to be Fright.
Oh man, see that fuck.
Your wild card.
No, because that I know this title. Fright.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it's not one of those. It's just like vague. That I know Fright. Damn it! Is Fright the 1974 film, the 1979 film, or the 1971 film? Damn it! Fright. What was Fright about? Was Fright about an old man doing a little bit of torture? Was Fright about a young couple in a new house that are getting frightened out of that house? Or was Fright about the babysitter? Oh, damn it. That one's going to bug me. Oh, I hate whenever I, like, sort of like on the tip of your tongue feeling, you know? Whenever you can just, like, almost recall something, but it's just, like, not, you can't really pull it out. That's what I'm happening with Fright. So you thought Fright was going to throw me as far as just being too generic.
Not necessarily.
Oh,
It just fit.
Like, yeah, okay. It is kind of, it could be almost any of these because it's just a general.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the first one was Sunday in the Country.
Sunday in the country.
Yes.
Sunday in the Country. Okay. Sunday in the Country like I said, I'm pretty sure that's not the babysitter one. So I think the babysitter one's Fright, actually. So is Sunday in the Country, like I said, is that running through the rural America? Or is that the Louisiana home buyers who are being evicted by the previous owners?
There's nothing in the description that says they're being evicted.
I mean, they're being tormented, but I'm going to assume that the previous owners want them out of that house for whatever reason. So I think I have to listen, this might be a first, but like, I really don't think I have to struggle on these too much. Is that blind confidence? We're going to find out, but I'm just going to go with Sunday in the Country is the 1974 film with three thugs on the run through rural America who come across a desolate farmhouse where an old man is prepared for their arrival, and instead of waiting for the law to arrive, decides to take them into his cellar for a little bit of torture. That's what I'm going to call Sunday in the Country.
Sunday in the Country. A quiet title for an explosive movie.
I'm going to call, you said it was The Evictors?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that the 1979 film of the nice young couple who have recently purchased a home in Louisiana and are being tormented by the previous owners is called The Evictors.
The Evictors. It's happening now, and will happen again.
And then
And again.
I think it might just be that I've either seen Fright, I've heard of Fright, I can maybe see the poster of Fright, or I'm just completely thinking of another film. And Kevin, I think it's Kevin's synopsis was just really bad. Yeah. But anyway, I think Fright is the 1971 movie about a babysitter who is in an eerie, creepy house and who is on edge whenever the biological father of the subject she's babysitting shows up after having escaped a mental institution. That is Fright.
Fright. Once it gets hold of you, it never lets go.
Like I said, that was kind of blind confidence. I didn't really battle this one out like I usually do. They kind of just fit in their own little spots. So I'm hoping that I hat-tricked this.
I'm going to rip the Band-Aid right off and say you did.
Nice. Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about all three of these.
So Sunday in the Country from 1974 is the one that I've known about, but I have not yet seen.
Okay.
And honestly, there was not really much information at all that I could find about this movie. The director is a guy named John Trent. I believe it either is or was released by Shout Factory on Blu-ray.
Nice,
I
okay.
think I remember seeing the Blu-ray. It is currently, at the time of recording, available to stream free with ads on Freevee.
Okay.
And it's also in full in HD on YouTube. So it's very easily accessible, and I do plan to watch this one sometime this week.
Listen, I really love whenever and can we call this one a horror film? Is this a horror thriller?
I think it's listed as a thriller, but it definitely sounds horror-y.
Yeah, I mean, there's torture involved, right? There's some kind of, malicious doings here, right? There's horror from someone's perspective, we'll say. I really love whenever intense movies like this, or seemingly intense movies, have titles or have elements to them that really sound pleasant, that really just lure you in and make you feel all comfy. I love that.
The poster says, "Suddenly, on a peaceful Sunday in the country, one man was forced to defend his home and his family."
Nice. Okay. So this is almost I wonder if there was some inspiration in what was that called again? The movie with the blind guy?
Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. Because it sort of sounds familiar. Where these kids break into this guy's house to steal. There's a crime element, and you don't realize that this old man is kind of waiting for them, or kind of at least prepared for them.
Yeah, I know that movie was based on an actual thing.
Oh shit! It was.
You haven't seen that? Yeah,
No.
there was. This was
including the spoiler ending with the.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
good.
no.
That was a weird ending.
The whole setup was, aside from the guy being blind, but there was, so there was this guy whose house had been broken into several times, I believe, a few times at least, and there were these teenagers that were breaking into houses across in the neighborhood, and it was on a Thanksgiving day, I believe. And they broke into this dude's house, but he was in the basement with his gun waiting for them.
Yeah.
And so whenever these kids started coming down the basement stairs. He was sitting in his on his couch with either a rifle or a shotgun or whatever it was, and whenever he saw the legs coming down the stairs, he shot them, and they tumbled down the stairs, and then he executed them.
Oh my!
And he
goodness.
set up a tape recorder or something, and he recorded the whole thing because he wanted it to be proof for the police of what happened,
stand your ground type thing.
But then there was a whole a complicated trial because there was a whole thing about
the first shot is definitely his right, but the next ones are they? Yeah,
exactly. Yes, it's fucked up. Anyway,
I had no idea. I had no idea that
was
Don't Breathe
inspired by.
Yeah, I had no idea that Don't Breathe. But but also, can you see kind of where I'm at least?
Yes.
Maybe wrongfully, but still referencing Don't Breathe as kind of sort of similar to this.
Yeah, and I was also I don't think you've ever seen the whole thing, but also kind of Sunday in the Country has kind of like a Straw Dogs type of vibe to it from this description.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's available at least on YouTube in HD, but also on Freevee. Okay.
1979 film The Evictors. I own on Blu-ray, courtesy of Shout Factory. It is not a sponsor. It is directed by Charles B. Pierce, who is a fairly recognizable and regarded cult classic filmmaker of the films Town That Dreaded Sundown. And he also directed the original 2 Boggy Creek films.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He got his break in. His first film was The Legend of Boggy Creek, which of course
is set in Louisiana.
To any The Legend of Boggy Creek, of course, would go on to be like a big a drive-in hit, and actually became like a major success, like a major financial success. And so The Evictors, this will pique your interest, stars Vic Morrow, Jessica Harper of Suspiria, and Michael Parks.
Oh wow.
You can see a young 1979 Michael Parks. Him and Jessica Harper are the couple that move into the house.
That's awesome.
It is so cool.
Michael Parks is always great.
Yes, and always was. The movie, I liked the movie quite a bit.
The Evictors.
It is currently, at the time of recording, streaming on Amazon Prime without ads for the next however long. They're not going to show you ads for paying for their super expensive.
I'm pretty sure they already are. That's already a thing.
Great.
Yep.
Great.
sorry, bud.
I have it on Blu-ray. It doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
So support physical media. You don't have to watch ads ever. The only other piece of information that was really in the IMDb trivia about this movie, at least that was worth noting, was that The Evictors was apparently one of the very last movies that was released by American International Pictures.
Oh,
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. And that brings us on to Fright from 1971. This is the one that became a very big priority once I read more about it.
So why does this ring a bell for me, but you didn't know about this? Am I thinking of something else?
I don't know. I assume based on the number of ratings this has that you're probably thinking of something else.
Highly likely.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
It is directed by a gentleman named Peter Collins, who is most notable for directing Michael Caine led classic The Italian Job. He did The Italian Job before Fright, so this is post-Italian Job. So right off the bat, Fright is, at the time of recording, streaming on Freevee and allegedly on Plex.
Allegedly.
Potentially on Plex. It's supposed to be.
Plex will at least tell you that they don't have it.
Yes. So this movie, what really piqued my interest is that this movie is cited as being perhaps the very first film with the now very cliche horror plot device of a lone babysitter being terrorized by a psychotic murderer.
Awesome.
1971.
Who also escaped a mental institution.
Mental institution, yes. So this predates Black Christmas by 3 years. Obviously, this predates Halloween by like 7 years. This even predates Texas Chainsaw Massacre by 3 years, which obviously isn't a babysitter, but this is a very early slasher film. Obviously it's not the first slasher film, but at least
not even just slasher film, but like specifically babysitter slasher film.
Exactly. Yes. Like
that really became its own
the
like
first
subgenre.
One. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was fascinating. And then apparently whenever slasher movies were at their peak, like at their height, the studio ended up re-releasing Fright as under the title I'm Alone and I'm Scared.
I'm alone and I'm scared.
Which was not a success.
Which is also not true because there's a kid in the house.
Yes. So, but yeah, I thought that was so cool. And I also didn't realize that it was from the director of The Italian Job. And I thought that was interesting. It'd be cool to see a horror movie from that guy.
Do we know? I know this is maybe going to be cut for time, but do we know who wrote this?
I did not notate it. No.
Because that's
what I have it pulled up right now.
That's what I'm more interested in.
It's written by somebody named Tudor, Tudor, Tudor Gates.
Anything else?
Who also has under their belts screenwriting credits. Wow. On recently watched for the first time favorite of mine, in collaboration with is his credit on the 1968 film Barbarella.
Oh, wow, really? So this guy was kind of ahead of his time.
Twins of Evil. I've heard of that film. I've never seen it. He wrote that. Lust for a Vampire, I've heard of. He wrote that. I've never seen it, though. He did one in 1973 called Sex Thief, rated X.
X.
Yeah, this is fascinating. Yes, from co-writer, at least, of Barbarella.
Interesting.
Very cool. Okay, yeah, let's try to quickly.
And did we say?
Sorry.
Did we say really quick? Is Fright available anywhere? Did we say that?
I did say that. Yes.
Okay, cool. You can go
on
back.
Freevee and Plex. So let's go ahead really quick and let's see if you can figure out the star ranking of these three films.
So this is interesting because
before we get into our quote.
Yeah, before quote time. So the star rating, this is going to be interesting because these seem like, at least with Fright, I mean, the fact that you didn't know about Fright is pretty impressive. I have to be thinking of something else.
Maybe, yeah.
That's kind of, so I mean, that tells me that Fright might not have the rating it maybe deserves because people are probably going to watch it after having like heavily invested themselves or at least been very familiar with the slasher genre at post Fright. So I feel like maybe the rating for Fright will be skewed since it is such an early intro into that maybe it wasn't like, a home run and the other ones were. So I'm going to give it that. And then Michael Parks is amazing. So there's that. Not to say that this is his best performance in the Evictors, but I can't imagine that he made the movie bad. So, and then, what was it? Sunday in the Country? That just sounds awesome. That title just sounds so cool. And
I forgot to say, at Sunday in the Country, in the lead role, I believe he is the farmer whose house the robbers go to, is played by Ernest Borgnine. Who,
wow. Okay.
Very prominent, of course.
so okay, I'm going to say that maybe these are around mid six range, and I feel like they're kind of like sort of close-ish. Being like all within 6, and then all like above like 6.3. So I'm going to go ahead and give Fright the third position. Like I said, solely based on the fact that it had that title change issue, which is, I mean, clearly after IMDb or before IMDb became a thing. But the fact that I think a lot of the viewers who have actually seen this might be either unintentionally or intentionally comparing it to better slasher films. So I'm just going to say that. I have a bias towards towards Parks. I'm gonna have to give the Evictors the top slot, and I feel like it's just a couple points ahead of Sunday in the Country. So Evictors, Sunday in the Country, Fright.
Okay, and you are actually way off pretty much on all of these. So, I mean, there's not much range, and you are actually pretty close on the range. I think you gave them a little more credit than what IMDb gives them. So, the highest ranking one is Sunday in the Country.
Okay.
From 688 IMDb ratings, it has a 6.2.
Get out there and watch this movie, people. Go watch this movie.
It sounds great. I can't wait to watch Sunday in the Country. Second place you're going to have off of 1,889 ratings at the time of recording, with a 5.8 is Fright.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And lastly, from 1,327 ratings is The Evictors with a 5.4.
Boo. I mean, maybe it's worth it. I don't know, but okay.
I liked it. All right. It was pretty. I didn't think it was bad.
Okay, well that's interesting to know. I mean, I still think everyone needs to go out and watch all three of these, but the fact that Sunday in the Country, that just sounds really, really compelling. I don't know why.
A little bit of torture.
Just a little bit of torture. A little bit of basement torture. What's going to hurt, right? Come on. It takes the cops at least half an hour to get out here. Let's just go for it.
There's plenty of time, boys.
All right, so now I'm looking forward to my favorite segment, which it sounds like we actually have a segment this time around, whereas a couple episodes ago we didn't. Sorry, I was ready for the sound. I love the theme that we do every time, but I really thought you were like doing some like tornado siren background for it. It was some like air raid.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
All right, hit me with the quote. This is where you pull a quote from one of the films, and I have to decide which film this goes with. But on top of that, you also give the quote in a character of your choosing that may or may not be related to the actual film.
Yes, and this, I think, is going to be our first time that... so the quote for this film is actually one of these where it's like two people.
Okay. It's a dialogue.
So I have one person delivering one line and then a separate person delivering the second line.
Do I get two characters?
Yeah, I'll do two voices. Yeah.
I'm already happy. I don't care what happens.
All right. So your quote, which again is taken from IMDb. So full disclaimer there. Maybe Kevin Steinhauer of BOM government facility put this on there. I don't know. But so your quote from two characters communicating presumably with each other goes as follows. How do you spell the word psychotic? You may have to spell it M-U-R-D-E-R, murder, if you don't get someone over there quickly.
Ooh, okay. How do you spell psychotic? You may have to spell it M-U-R-D-E-R if you don't get someone over there quickly. I mean, right away, just because of psychotic, I felt like this was maybe the babysitter, the Fright, just because he escaped from the psych ward. But who would she be who's talking here? That's the question. Unless it's like a Dr. Loomis type character that knows this guy escaped and he's like calling the police, or they're calling the police, and the 911 operator is like, oh, he escaped from, he's psychotic? What? How do you spell psychotic? And he's like, you'll have to spell it M-U-R-D-E-R if you don't get someone there with a quick. Maybe. I don't think it's Evictors automatically. And I don't, it doesn't really fit Sunday in the Country, just because the farmhouse is secluded. I mean, I guess somebody had to call the police, so maybe the old man called the police, or maybe it was like a neighbor called the police, like like down the road, and the neighbor knows that the old man at the farmhouse is psychotic.
I heard the screaming. I don't know what's going on.
Right? Yeah. Oh, that's tough. It could be. I guess it could be that. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with my gut and say that because there's a psych ward involved, that this is the 1971 movie Fright.
You are correct.
Nice.
This was the only of the three movies that had a quote on the page, and this was one of, I think, 2 quotes that was on the page for this movie.
Okay.
But I didn't think it was too bad. So yes, it is credited on the IMDb page as Inspector, saying, "How do you spell the word psychotic?" And then a Dr. Cordell saying,
Right.
"You may have to spell it murder, murder, if you don't get someone over that quickly."
I feel like I called that with like the Dr. Loomis type characters, what I feel like that is.
Yeah, which makes me very interested to watch this movie too. I wonder if there's that kind of dynamic.
I wonder
if that's what's going
Carpenter maybe had his fingers in some pies.
Yeah.
But how did you, if that is the case, sorry to interrupt, but if that is the case, that this is so close, seemingly at least, to Halloween, how did you not know about this movie? Like, I don't know
every movie.
Well, no, but I don't think I know a bigger Halloween fan than you, at least as far as like knowing, like the whole history of it. So that's why I'm thinking that like maybe there's even more to this movie than just simply babysitter slasher psych ward thing.
If I had ever heard of this before, then the title just didn't ring a bell to me or something.
Well, it rang my bell for some reason. I don't know why.
Whoa.
If you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying.
Babysitter in trouble.
I love those psych ward guys that just escape. How do you spell psych? Psychotic? HORNY.
Oh, yeah.
Get over there. Okay, that's creepy enough. Okay, yeah. So I don't know why I have thought I heard about this and you didn't. All right, let's now segue into what I've been dreaming of this whole episode, which is, what would you consider a little torture, and can we write that scene?
All right, so he takes them out down to the cellar.
Right. So okay, just to recap. So these guys are on the run after robbing a bank.
Yeah.
And they come across this farmhouse that they assume, I guess, is abandoned, and they want to hide out in it to escape the law. Mm-hmm. And they get inside, and there's this old man, and they're like, "Oh shit, old man." The old man, right? Exactly. Old man is like ready for them. He saw them running down like the mile-long driveway or whatever, right? So he says, "Get on in here.
Start marching, boys."
I've already called the law, and the law takes 45 minutes to get here. We're going to go have a little torture."
That's more than enough time. He opens the cellar doors. It's like those the big wood, double doors.
Yeah.
He pulls them open, and he's like,
outside the house.
"Get on marching down there, boys." And they go down there.
Go on, get.
He has chains or something fucked up like that. He chains them up.
Well, so keep in mind. But the key here is that we have to keep this in the synopsis description of a little torture.
A little torture. Yeah.
So we can't go medium torture. We can't go long term, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because again,
he's not gonna torture them free-handed and stuff like that.
Well, sure, yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be some kind of restraint, but we also can't go into the horrific story that you told us about the real life account where there's questionable things that are done that he might become a criminal himself. I think we have to right on the edge of Ernest Borgnine becoming a criminal, at least in our version, right? So what are we going to do to these 3 guys? There's 3 of them. So we got. I agree. There's some kind of restraint device.
How about he?
Wait. So wait. Just pause 1 second. Are you also trying to say that maybe this basement is set up for big torture?
No, I was actually specifically going to. So he doesn't have chains. He has rope. I mean, he's on a farm. He's going to have some rope somewhere. Yeah, I assume.
Just common stuff in the basement.
He has them all sat down on the floor, and he ropes ties them all up
to a post
around their torso.
Yeah.
Ties all of them together, and they're on the floor. Ties their ankles up and whatnot, and so they're all on the floor.
All right. So I like that, but how does Ernest Borgnine, who's always been an old man, how does he get these 3 people?
He has like a daughter or something. I'm just because on the
family.
poster he has like a girl with him.
So there's a family. Okay, so there's maybe
yeah.
there's some help involved. Okay.
Yeah, and then his little bit of torture
Yeah.
is just that he pulls out a matchbook, strikes a match, and just like tosses it on. And he's like, "Yeah, you like that for 45 minutes?"
That would get annoying. I mean, that would, and there is a risk there.
That's a little bit of torture.
Yeah, there is. I would admit. I mean, I think I want a little bit of torture. I like. That's definitely. There's a mental torture there. I agree. That is going to be annoying. And like I said, your clothes. One of those matches could catch. And then you're tied up. Is he going to put you out? Who knows, right? So there is like that mental anguish there. But I think I want a little bit of a physical aspect to it beyond just like being, the match flinging against your face. Or maybe, okay, how about this? So we know he has a daughter. Or at least we think he has a daughter based on the poster.
Or wife or something, yeah.
Yeah, some kind of, there's someone else, but maybe there's also a third. So maybe
there is a female in the house.
She's going to come down here and sing off key for you.
I was about to, but then I opted not to.
Oh, you're going to sing off
late.
key? Oh, I would have loved that. Yeah. Just that for 45 minutes while Ernest Borgnine is flicking matches at your face.
Yeah, you're sorry for robbing that bank now, aren't you?
Yeah, that money's not yours, is it? You're going to take it back, aren't you? Yeah. And then like literally it cuts to the end of the film and the police are arriving and the guys just give themselves up and they're like, we're so sorry.
The police are like, "Sir, this is just not necessary."
The police are like, listen, Dale, I get why you did what you did, but
you didn't do anything illegal, technically.
Yeah, we can't really book you, but you might have went a whole box of matches, Dale. I mean, a whole box. 45 minutes is a long time.
I could have listened to 2 of my stories on the radio this time.
I had to milk Greta. And I couldn't tend to that with them boys running around. So I think what I did was fair and balanced as far as the law and justice goes.
Mary Beth don't smoke no more, so these matches just laying around going to your waste.
It's not wintertime for another 4 months, so we don't need to light any wood stoves.
The police are just like, "Sir."
It's like the guy writing it down in the background, just like shaking his head. And like I said, the 3 thugs are just like trembling. Like they want out. They give up. Their life of crime is over. Voluntarily, they give it up.
Well, you shouldn't be robbing banks, but I suppose what you boys have been through for the last 45 minutes is punishment enough.
Especially Mary Beth singing. I've heard that at church on a Sunday, and I can't imagine 45 minutes of that. So I apologize.
Which again was just her going, "Yeah."
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think that qualifies as torture. Like I said, I still feel like there needs to be a little bit of something. I don't know if maybe like tickling the feet, maybe.
It's gonna be like a tickled situation.
Oh God, no, that's right. I forgot all about that. Let's not go down that route.
You boys know about competitive tickling?
This is where it got to start. Let me show you how we train.
This ain't sexual or nothing.
That'd be so weird. For those of you who don't know that tickled story, look that up. But you and I know it, and it would be so weird if this was the origin story of that guy. Like if this was his grandfather who owned this farm and just like tickle tortured thugs who came down the property.
I tickle people like my grandpappy and his daddy before him.
I'm a 3rd generation tickler.
No, it ain't sexual.
It's definitely not sexual and definitely not gay.
If you're a young man who wants to be tickled, come on down to Uncle Pete's Tickle Factory.
You gotta look good and be okay being shirtless though. This is not sexual. This is not.
We're taping it too for the internet.
This is training for torture. That's what this is. We're in special forces and tickling. All right, I like the little bit of tickle. I like the little bit of tickling. I like the little bit of torture that we just described. Just that for a short amount of time in the basement of Dale and Mary Beth.
I'm sure this is exactly what happens in the movie. Like,
oh yeah, because you haven't seen this one yet, have you?
No, this
you've wanted to
70s thriller. It's just you boys. How do you like a little match in the face? That's all it is.
He just lighting it and holding it just for a few seconds, let it get nice and burn, and then just flicking it. I think he's like slowly like walking around them two.
Yeah.
As Mary Beth's in the background, the vinyl record is scratching as it's playing some old song you can barely hear.
A little off key.
Yeah. Not only is she off key, but the record's off key as well. Yeah, it's warped. Yeah, it's been in the basement.
To everybody listening, fuck you. We find this funny.
Yeah, this is great.
Like, I don't care.
In fact, this is better than whatever's in that movie. So
it probably is. Yeah.
What was that called again? Ernest Borgnine is
The Tickler. You boys know about competitive tickling?
Rated X. Yeah.